President Trump's latest Iran strategy has just been released. So what's the situation exactly? I'll explain it to everyone in detail. Also, what are the follow-up effects of the UAE withdrawing from OPEC? I'll bring you related reports on that as well. In addition, the U.S. Supreme Court made a major ruling yesterday. How will the electoral district maps in the U.S. be drawn? The fate of the nation is being shaped. Of course, this will delight some people and upset others. So, how these electoral district maps are drawn, the historical context behind it, and its impact on the future, today I'll focus on explaining all of that. Also, let's talk about California's wealth tax. Right now, it looks like passing this hurdle won't be difficult. It should go through. But what will that lead to? Will there be a mass exodus of wealthy people from California? Actually, that's already happening, and it's a pretty deep issue. Next, let's talk about whether the appointment of the new Federal Reserve Chair can be finalized. Today, Trump once again tweeted at Powell, harshly criticizing him. What's the reason behind that? Welcome to another episode of Good Morning America, brought to you by Fengwei. Hello to all our friends watching on YouTube, and greetings to the listeners of Silicon Valley FM 96.1. Hi everyone, sorry I don't have a mouse right now. All right, let's take a look at the related situation. First, let's talk about this. The U.S. military has been blockading Iranian ports for over 242 weeks now, which has severely damaged Iran's crude oil exports. Yesterday, President Trump once again stated that a blockade is even more effective than bombing, saying it would suffocate Iran. The U.S. Central Command, that is, the Central Theater Command, said that during the 2-week blockade, they have already ordered 42 Iranian oil tankers or cargo ships to turn back. And they also seized 3 ships. Those tankers were carrying 69 million barrels of oil. Now, the Iranian regime can't sell this batch of oil, which amounts to a loss of $6 billion US. Iran's currency, the rial, hit a new historic low against the US dollar on the 29th, so the economy is on the verge of collapse. Because of this blockade, Iran has no way to export its oil, and the country's oil storage facilities are also affected. The pipelines are almost about to explode. Trump yesterday tweeted that the blockade is even more effective than bombing. He said they're now suffocating like pigs stuffed to the brim. Trump also said that this blockade is a stroke of genius and that he's achieved 100% foolproof results. Sorry about that. Also, let me mention a report I just saw. According to satellite images, there are currently 52 Iranian ships trying to force their way through the U.S. blockade. Basically, they're relying on sheer numbers to break through. They're trying to overwhelm the U.S. Navy fleet because the U.S. Navy simply can't intercept and detain that many ships at once. Some Iranian ships are even disguised as Iraqi vessels. So right now, they're basically charging through. What's the word for it? That's really what you would call it. They're basically trying to rush out all at once, so you can't catch them all. Sure, you might catch a few, but you can't get every single one, so that's actually a really interesting tactic. Given that, ships actually move pretty slowly. For example, a cruise ship only goes about 17 knots per hour. So even if you manage to get away, how long can you really run for? After you escape, how many days can you keep going? The American satellites can see exactly where you are, crystal clear. So even if they can't catch you right then and there, they can just track you down later and nab you for sure. But from this incident, you can really see just how desperate Iran has become. As for President Trump, on the 28th, during a meeting with top executives from the American oil industry, he said that the U.S. naval blockade might have to be extended for several more months. So he was discussing with the industry what measures they should take to minimize the impact on American consumers. Keep it to a minimum. We all know that Brent crude oil is now at $109, and West Texas crude is at $105, both over $100. But it hasn't actually shot up to $110 or $120. And on Wednesday, just yesterday, the average price of gasoline in the U.S. soared to $4.20 per gallon. It hit a new high in recent years, so I think everyone can feel it, right? How much has this rise in oil prices affected you? Feel free to leave us a comment and let us know. Do you think it's understandable and just a temporary phenomenon, or is it already really bothering you? Please leave us a message and share your thoughts, okay? Of course, friends from all over the world are welcome to comment since oil prices are a global issue. The latest news is that the U.S. Department of Defense has released an estimate of the military spending for the 62-day-long Operation Iraqi Freedom, and the total cost is estimated at $28 billion. We should talk about whether $28 billion is a lot or not. Back in 2003, the US campaign to take Iraq lasted 43 days and cost $44.5 billion in military expenses, if you convert that to today's value. And the entire Iraq war, including the occupation, cost $1.4 trillion in direct military spending. If you add in civilian expenses, the total comes to over $3 trillion for the US. And as for the war in Afghanistan, that also cost over $3 trillion. Actually, even more than the Iraq war. What I mean by this is, this shows the difference in cost between an airstrike and an amphibious landing operation. So if the US military limits itself to just airstrikes, then the cost of the war is extremely limited. Just over $28 billion, not much at all, because in 2027, the defense budget that Trump wants is $1.5 trillion, so this is really nothing. Now, let's talk about what the withdrawal of the USS Ford tells us. The USS Gerald R. Ford, an aircraft carrier of the U.S. Navy, recently announced that it will soon return to the United States, ending a 10-month overseas deployment. The Ford is the newest aircraft carrier in the U.S. Navy, belonging to the Ford-class carriers. It's a new generation, and the other 10 carriers are all Nimitz class. Only the Ford is called the Ford class, so all future new carriers will be Ford class. But it won't necessarily be called the Ford. Anyway, the Ford class has a larger deck space and is equipped with an electromagnetic catapult system that allows fighter jets to take off and land faster. So its combat capability is 30% higher than that of other U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups. As for this carrier, it actually left its home port in Norfolk, Virginia as early as June 24th last year. So it set sail. By April 29th, it had already been at sea for 309 days, which is about 10 months. This is the longest overseas deployment of a U.S. aircraft carrier since the Vietnam War, more than half a century ago. At the beginning of January, as we all know, it took part in the operation to capture former Venezuelan President Maduro. Before that, in October, it was stationed off the northern coast of Venezuela, essentially overseeing and supervising the situation. Then, on February 28th, it participated in the Epic Fury military operation, targeting Iran's Khamenei regime. In mid-March, it withdrew from operations against Iran due to a fire in the ship's laundry room. First, it went to Greece and then to Croatia for repairs. Some ships are extremely complex, you know? If something breaks, it has to be fixed right away. You can't just keep using it over and over without repairs. So after the repairs were done, in mid-April, the Ford returned to the Middle East and was deployed to the northern end of the Red Sea to maintain real-time surveillance and deterrence against Iran. Actually, a typical aircraft carrier deployment overseas only lasts about 6 to 7 months. After that, it has to undergo maintenance and repairs to make sure it can operate normally and be ready for its next deployment. So it's expected to return to its home port in Norfolk around mid-May. By then, it will have been out for over 10 months, almost 11 months, and will undergo extensive repairs and maintenance. If Trump can cut an entire carrier strike group, what's that tell you? I think his strategy is long-term containment, just surrounding things. When it comes to fighting, it's mostly talking tough. By that, I mean seeking peace through strength. For example, Trump used AI to make a photo of himself holding an automatic rifle with bang-bang effects in the background. What's his point? He's basically saying, I'm not going to play the nice guy anymore, so you all better pay attention when I speak. That's what he means. So seeking peace through strength is actually the lowest cost approach, but you have to build up strong power first. Alright, so as we just discussed, if the war is fought in the air, then in over 60 days, it only costs about $28 billion. If it's just a long-term blockade, the cost is even lower. Right now, the US really doesn't have any pressure to end things quickly, whether it's in terms of crude oil or even cargo transport. So Trump is willing to go for a long-term blockade, at least that's how I see it. At the same time, though, Central Command has also prepared a plan for a short but intense strike against Iran, which might include targeting infrastructure and so on. So they could launch a brave attack, but the main strategy in the long run is still a blockade. So what about U.S. Central Command? They've already asked the Army to send its long-developed Dark Eagle, the land-based hypersonic missile, to the Middle East to have it ready for potential operations against Iran. They're looking for a longer-range system to strike deep inside Iran, targeting its ballistic missile launch sites. Meanwhile, as for negotiations with Iran, are they still going to Pakistan? Trump said they're not going anymore. Trump said the flight is too long and it's not necessary. He basically said, if Iran needs something, they can just call us, or I can call them. In short, we can get an answer in 15 minutes. There's no need to fly for 18 hours. Even before leaving, we already know the agreement Iran is going to propose is just impossible. There's nothing to negotiate. So flying 18 hours over there is just ridiculous. He's just not going to do it. So if the Gulf War were to drag on and turn into a prolonged conflict or even a long-term siege, then of course the losses for Iran would be huge. The Gulf countries would also suffer significant losses, and Europe would be losing 500 million euros every single day. As for Iran, they've run out of oil storage. They're even digging makeshift pits and covering them up to act as storage tanks. Right now, Iran is panicking. It's like 52 Iranian ships breaking through the US blockade. They're thinking, if we don't try, it's a waste anyway, so maybe a few ships can actually make it through. Because honestly, they really have nowhere left to store that oil. That's the situation right now. So Iran is currently facing what's called an oil bottleneck. And then there's also the issue of funding being cut off. So under these circumstances, will the Iranian regime collapse? Will the people inside the country rise up? These are all possible outcomes that this siege might trigger. All right, next, let me talk about the UAE withdrawing from the group. The UAE's withdrawal is really stirring things up. Oh my, the UAE has recently become a key player among the Gulf countries. What does that mean? Let me break it down into 5 points. First, the UAE is the Gulf country that has suffered the most severe attacks from Iran. Second, it was the first to deploy fighter jets to directly strike back at Iran. Third, it has even formed a sort of military alliance with Israel, persuading Israel. So Israel provided them with the Iron Dome, which is an air defense shield system. Israel was very pleased about this and even sent people, dozens of them, to help out, which was a big help. So this is an Arab country forming a kind of military alliance with Israel, something that was unimaginable before. Another thing is what I mentioned to everyone yesterday. The UAE announced its withdrawal from OPEC, the organization of the petroleum exporting countries. After hearing this, Trump highly praised the move, saying that forging your own path is great, and called the UAE president a great leader. Also, I want to mention that among my online friends, there's someone named Princess SM1327 who left a comment saying that OPEC, the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, is basically a business organization. Collusion. What does collusion mean? In Chinese, it means price fixing or conspiring to set prices. The harm it causes is to the interests of consumers. That's why this kind of thing is illegal in the United States. So if companies want to do this, they can't do it directly. They can't just get together and agree, let's set the price here, and nobody changes it. It's illegal for companies to do this in the US. So if a company wants to team up with others, they have to use mergers. They have to directly buy out the other party to be able to do this. And what's the biggest weakness of this kind of collusion? This kind of business collusion, price fixing, is that people only come together for profit. And they break up just as quickly as they come together for profit. That's exactly what we're seeing with the UAE situation. Now, looking ahead, it's very likely that Venezuela will also leave the group. It was one of the founding members, but given how much things have changed, Venezuela is now basically following the lead of the US. So if Venezuela leaves, that's a highly probable event. If that happens, OPEC will really become weaker and weaker. But ultimately, what we hope for is that OPEC will dissolve. Everyone would return to a free market with open competition. That way, everyone would work hard to cut costs, increase production, and so on, which would bring oil prices down. That's what we're all waiting for. The market itself has the ability to solve this problem. Also, a UAE diplomatic official hinted today they might withdraw from the UN and other global bodies. He suggested that if the UAE left these failed, ineffective international organizations, he said that these organizations have already proven to be completely incapable of issuing a clear and strong condemnation of Iran's aggression. So if we withdraw, don't be surprised. This official also emphasized that the UAE you knew before February 28th no longer exists. It's gone forever. A new, stronger, and uncompromising UAE has been born. It will no longer tolerate those empty frameworks that equate victims with aggressors or protect those who threaten its sovereignty and security. From now on, things are going to be different. Basically, what this means is that the UAE feels really outraged. In fact, they've brought up 2 resolutions at the United Nations. Basically, it's like the US attacks Iran, Iran attacks others, that's the situation. Iran attacks us, and we didn't even provoke them. So they asked the United Nations to uphold justice, but so far, nothing has been passed. So this is yet another example of all talk and no action. That's why the UAE is really unhappy. They feel that if things keep going like this, of course, we've already talked many times about how the UN is all talk and no action. It doesn't have a real leader, and it doesn't have any teeth. And then the vote of the United States has the same weight as the vote of Mauritius in Africa. Even Iran, in a situation where its regime killed 40,000 people in just a few days, is itself a member of the Human Rights Council. So this is just, what do you call it? Votes are just a matter of counting heads, and counting heads is how power works at the United Nations. But these heads can all be bought, one small country after another. The small countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America can all be bought off. So that's why the United Nations ends up being unable to get anything done. It's all talk and no action, so the UAE is really unhappy about it. That's the situation we're dealing with. Besides that, let me tell you about today's big news. Yesterday, the Supreme Court made a major ruling. The electoral map, the district map, what is it going to turn into now? Colorblind? What does colorblind mean? Let me explain that to everyone. But first, let's talk about the major ruling the Supreme Court made yesterday. The electoral district map in Louisiana, it's invalid and has to be redrawn. This has shocked the whole country because right now, the political landscape in the US is basically split 50-50 between the two parties, and this could lead to a major shift. Both President Obama and President Trump have posted on Twitter about this. One opposes it, the other supports it. So what's really going on here? Let me explain the whole story again. I know some viewers are already familiar with this, but many aren't, and this is really important for the United States. Every 10 years, the US conducts a census. So, for example, in the years 2000, 2010, 2020, 2030, and so on. After each census, the state legislatures in each state have to redraw the district maps. These districts refer to the congressional district maps for U.S. House representatives in each state. Of course, the outcome of these district maps is fiercely contested by both parties. There are actually two battles going on here. This so-called war over district maps involves two separate fights. The first battle is political gerrymandering, and the second is racial gerrymandering. What does that mean? Let's talk about the political side first. Gerrymandering here means that state legislatures, everyone knows this, can they just redraw district lines however they want based on party interests? This whole thing actually started back in 1812 in Massachusetts when the governor from the Democratic Republican Party was named Eldridge Gerry, right? At that time, the Massachusetts legislature was also controlled by the Democratic Republican Party, which later became the Democratic Party. So what happened was they redrew part of the state Senate districts, and the goal was to help their own party, the Democratic Republican Party, win the elections and weaken their opponents, who at the time were the Federalist Party. At that time, there was a district in a county called Essex County that was drawn in a really bizarre way, twisting and turning, looking like a salamander, right? Like a salamander, just like that. Then, an editor from a Federalist newspaper at the time took the governor's last name, Gerry, and combined it with salamander, that animal, also known as a Chinese giant salamander, to create the word gerrymander. That's how the term was coined. Later, a local newspaper published a famous political cartoon that drew the district as a creature, just like the one we saw earlier, a giant salamander. The headline was "The Gerrymander." From then on, the term gerrymander was born to describe this kind of manipulative redistricting, and it became synonymous with the manipulation of electoral maps. Bizarrely shaped districts are drawn to help parties win. Many condemn this as unethical, so the only recourse is to sue. They took it to the Supreme Court, but how does the court judge this? Their evaluation process is actually quite complex. There was a whole process, from initially trying to intervene, to becoming hesitant, to reaching a deadlock, and finally making a firm decision. The final decision is actually the conclusion I'm sharing with you all today. So what exactly is this firm decision? I'll tell you all about it in a bit. First, let's talk about what happened in 1962. Back then, there was a Supreme Court case called Baker versus Carr. As a result of the ruling, the principle of one person, one vote was firmly established. You might ask, isn't it already one person, one vote? Well, in many states, especially in the South, district maps went unchanged for decades. Districts stayed the same even as populations shifted. Even as populations grew, districts stayed the same. The Supreme Court ruled this was wrong, so districts are now redrawn to have roughly equal populations. Today, that's about 800,000 people per district. As you know, there are 435 members in the House of Representatives. The US population is over 340 million. If you divide 340 million by 435, that's a little over 800,000, about 820,000 or 830,000 people per district. So as the population changes, the map has to change along with it. It can't stay the same. That's what was established in 1962. Now, the second point is that in 1986, in the case of Davis versus, for the first time, it was acknowledged and recognized as political gerrymandering. That is, when a certain political party initiates the drawing of district maps in a way that benefits their own party, this kind of redistricting could be unconstitutional. However, they couldn't provide a clear judicial standard, so after hearing the decision, nobody really knew what to do next. Because they didn't specify what kind of map drawing is correct and what kind is incorrect, they couldn't figure it out themselves, and they couldn't explain it clearly either. Now, moving forward to 2004, this year brought a new case, also related to gerrymandering, called Veith versus Jubileer. This time, the Supreme Court was deadlocked in a 5-5 split, with the sixth vote coming from Justice Kennedy. Justice Kennedy recused himself, saying he couldn't make a clear judgment at the time. The four conservative justices believed that this kind of political gerrymandering or partisan gerrymandering was a political question that federal courts simply couldn't adjudicate. But all we can do is interpret the law as it is written. We can't legislate, and we shouldn't get involved in these kinds of political matters. So what was the result? That's how things stood. With a 4-4 split, of course, there was no conclusion. 2 years later, in 2006, there was the case of Lulac versus Perry, again about gerrymandering. This time, once again, they couldn't come up with a clear standard. The Supreme Court's stance was still ambiguous. All in all, as you can see, at first they wanted to get involved, but then gradually realized it might not be such a good idea, so they became more hesitant to act. Then, moving forward to 2019, there was a key ruling that year. The case was called versus Common Cause. It involved two cases. One was the Republican Party in North Carolina redrawing the electoral map, and the other was the Democratic Party in Maryland redrawing their own electoral map. Both cases were combined and brought before the Supreme Court. At that time, because Trump had appointed 5 conservative Supreme Court justices, well, not all 5 were appointed by him. He appointed 2, and together with the original 3, that made 5. Barrett hadn't been appointed yet, so there was a clear conclusion, since they had the majority, right? Political gerrymandering is not a legal issue, so we're not going to deal with it. If you think the way the maps are being drawn this week is ridiculous, well, it's the city council that's doing it, right? And isn't the city council elected by you? So it's an expression of the people's will. Therefore, if you don't like it, please elect a city council that doesn't do things like this. If you don't want a city council that draws maps so haphazardly, don't come to us. That's basically what they're saying. We only interpret the law. We don't get involved in politics. So the battle over district maps that started last year basically began with Texas. Texas was the first to redraw its maps, and as a result, the Democrats might lose 5 seats. Of course, the Democrats criticized them, right? They said, you were the ones who started this fight. But the Republicans responded, no, for decades you've been quietly gerrymandering to an extreme degree, and we've never responded. Now, under the Supreme Court's 2019 ruling, we're finally starting to take action. So what did the Democrats say? They felt that if you're going to play dirty, then we won't play nice either. In California, they retaliated by passing a ballot initiative. So what was this ballot initiative about? It was basically to take away 5 congressional seats from Republican representatives in California. So with these 2 cases, Texas and California, it became a head-to-head standoff. In the end, the effect was that both sides canceled each other out. Both parties took their cases to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court reaffirmed its decision. It's a political decision. They basically said, we're not getting involved in your issues. We're really not. That's the situation. Now, just a couple of days ago, as we all know, Virginia also held a referendum. As a result of that referendum, the Republicans might get 4 seats. Then Florida immediately responded. DeSantis said, we're going to redraw the map right away and carve out 5 seats for the Republicans. So this so-called temporary vote in Virginia, through this kind of move, through this redistricting, this referendum was halted by the Virginia State Court of Appeals, so we have to take a look at what's going on. If it's unreasonable, then it won't stand, it'll all be for nothing. But if you think it's reasonable, then we'll move forward. That's basically what it means. Alright, so as you can see, the Supreme Court finally made up its mind. From 1962 until now, how many years is that? About 63 or 64 years later, the US Supreme Court finally decided that they're not going to get involved in this matter. Exactly, because it's the state legislatures that you voters elected who are doing this. So that's your will. If you don't agree with it, just vote them out next time. That's what it means, right? So politics is allowed here, but you can't do gerrymandering based on race. In other words, you have to prevent discrimination against minority groups. The basis for this is the Voting Rights Act passed in 1965. The Voting Rights Act, specifically Section 2. Section 2 says in its original text that it prohibits any electoral system or practice that results in discrimination against the voting rights of any race or minority group. That's Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So what does that mean? It means that when you're drawing electoral districts, if you intentionally draw the map in such a way that Black people can't win, then that would violate the provision we just talked about. But this time, what exactly is being reviewed in Louisiana? Let me explain in detail what the court is actually looking at. It's not the same issues we talked about earlier. This is actually the second battle over gerrymandering. In 2024, the Louisiana State Legislature passed a new district map that only created one majority Black district. Local Black civil rights groups argued that in Missouri, Black people make up 33% of the population, and the state has 6 congressional districts, so according to the provisions of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The state government was supposed to create 2 districts, with the second one being a majority Black district. So what happened? Of course, the state legislature refused to comply. Then, Black civil rights groups, along with the federal government, filed a lawsuit. So in 2025, the federal court ruled that the state's map violated the Voting Rights Act, specifically the section we just mentioned, the Voting Rights Act Section 2, and ordered the state legislature to redraw the districts and add another majority Black district. A majority Black district would ensure that they could elect 2 Black representatives. Okay, so this isn't about using race to discriminate against Black people. This is Black people saying, this is our right. In a way, it's a kind of reverse discrimination, because they're Black, so a special district is set aside just for them, allowing them to elect their own representatives. So what kind of situation is this? Let me explain. In the Supreme Court, this is considered another form of discrimination. Reverse discrimination. So after this Louisiana appellate case was brought to the Supreme Court, in March, the Supreme Court held oral arguments. At that time, there were very high expectations for this case, as it was seen as a major decision regarding reverse discrimination under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Alright, so let's fast forward to yesterday, April 28th. The Supreme Court finally issued its ruling with a 6-5 decision. Basically, this means that the conservative justices, including the 3 appointed by Trump and the 3 who were already there, formed the majority. With a 6-3 vote, they overturned the lower court's decision. The ruling determined that the current map in Louisiana is legal, and there's no need to create a second majority Black district. And what did the majority opinion say? Well, the Supreme Court's decision, the 6 justices in the majority, said that when the state legislature draws district maps, if they take race into account too much, that's basically reverse discrimination. Trying to specifically favor Black voters, they argued, violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. The Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment basically means that no matter which state a citizen is in or in any aspect, they can't be treated differently. That's the idea. So everyone has to be treated in a way that doesn't take skin color into account. That's how people should be treated. So this Supreme Court decision further narrows the scope of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. This case, as you know, is just as groundbreaking as the Harvard Asian admissions case from 2 or 3 years ago. Why is that? Because when state legislatures are drawing districts, they can now use partisanship as the main reason. But they can't use racial gerrymandering, right? They can't discriminate against minority groups. With this ruling, it means that even protecting minority groups is not allowed. Okay, so what does this decision mean? Well, it will have a major impact on several southern states, like Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia. Some people online are saying that because of this, the Republican Party could win an extra 10 to 22 seats in the House of Representatives. So in this case, I think saying it like that is a bit of an exaggeration. Most of these states are now able to keep their current district maps because of this ruling. They don't have to be redrawn or be forced to redraw, because if this so-called, well, how should I put it? If the Supreme Court had ruled differently, it would be a whole other story, and a lot of places would have to redraw their maps. So now they don't have to. The ones I just mentioned earlier.